You think she's not interested? Then why is she everywhere you go? Why do her eyes drop when yours meet? Why does she message you out of the blue, only to disappear again? Why do her friends know your name before you've ever spoken to them? Why does she ask about things you said weeks ago, things even you forgot? Why does she show up just enough to stay in your mind, but not enough to give clarity? Why does it feel like she's close enough to touch, but always out of reach? You've been told to move on. You've been told she's just not that into you. But what if that's not the truth? Comment, I choose clarity. Number 1, she avoids eye contact. She avoids your eyes not because she's uninterested, but because she fears what you'll see, and more importantly, fears what she will feel if she allows herself to hold that connection longer than a second. Because when a woman avoids your gaze, what she's really doing is hiding the emotional chaos running in the background of her mind that she desperately doesn't want you to notice, and you, being someone who perhaps hasn't yet cultivated that inner stillness, you mistake this for rejection when it's actually a symptom of suppressed attraction, concealed vulnerability, and a deep internal battle between desire and pride. And you sit there replaying the moment over and over again, wondering what you did wrong, while she walks away processing that same interaction just as intensely but without letting it show on the surface, because that surface is her shield. And the truth is, her avoiding eye contact is a control tactic, not consciously but instinctively, a way to regain emotional safety in an environment where she feels she's at risk of being fully seen. And that's the part you need to internalize. If she didn't care, if she didn't feel anything, if she truly saw you as just another face in the crowd, she'd look straight at you, unaffected. She'd stare with coldness or neutrality, because people don't flinch when there's nothing at stake. It's only when we fear exposure, fear intimacy, fear being figured out, that we avoid connection. And you watching this, you know what I'm talking about, because you've been in that moment where the air gets thick, your heart starts pacing, and for some reason she can't hold your eyes, not because you're intimidating in a dangerous way, but because your presence unbalances the emotional power she's used to maintaining. And in that exact moment, instead of owning the tension, instead of remaining calm and unmoved, many of you blink first, look away, match her discomfort instead of mastering it. And that's the test right there. Not to overpower her, but to stay present, to own the space, to show that you aren't shaken by someone else's hesitation, that your self-worth isn't tied to whether or not someone can maintain eye contact with you. And this is where Stoic principle comes in, not needing validation from external behaviors, not needing signals to feel grounded, but standing solid in your own frame regardless of whether someone shows you warmth or resistance. And from that place, you reclaim the dynamic. You stop being the one chasing clarity from unclear signals and start becoming the source of clarity yourself, because the person who is most calm in the tension controls the interaction. The person who's least reactive has the most influence, and the man who can maintain eye contact when someone else avoids it doesn't do so to intimidate, but to demonstrate that he doesn't run from discomfort. And that's something she can feel on a primal level, even if she never articulates it. And I'll tell you something that may hurt, but will free you. If you've ever chased a woman who avoided your gaze, tried harder to prove yourself, asked mutual friends if she liked you, you already lost leverage in her eyes, not because you're not good enough, but because you started behaving like someone trying to earn what was already yours to begin with. You traded your presence for pursuit, and when you chase someone who avoids you, you're reinforcing their illusion that they're above you. And when that illusion is fed, her attraction dies, not immediately, but slowly, silently, through 1,000 micro-decisions she makes about how she perceives you. And the solution isn't to become aggressive or bitter, it's to become unavailable emotionally to dynamics that are inconsistent, to train yourself to observe her actions, not interpret her motives, to ask yourself, does this serve my peace or my confusion? And then walk accordingly. And one way to apply this starting today is to practice deliberate stillness when you're around her. Don't initiate contact unless it's rooted in truth, not insecurity. Don't flinch when she's around. Maintain your focus on your purpose, your breath, your inner dialogue, and when she looks away again, don't react. Let her feel the distance she's creating. Let her sit in the tension she's building, because when you no longer chase after broken signals, when you no longer make their emotional discomfort your responsibility, you become magnetic in a way that no charm or line or outfit can replicate. And if you want this to work for you, not just once but forever, you must recondition your response system to not take avoidance personally, to see avoidance as a test, not a message. And when you pass that test with calm detachment, the power flips in an instant, because now she's the one. Questioning what she just felt, questioning why you're not seeking reassurance, why you're not chasing her approval. And that mental gap pulls her in faster than any compliment or bouquet of flowers ever could, because what she really wants but will never say is someone who sees her clearly and still stays grounded, not someone who loses themselves trying to decode her every move. And if you're honest with yourself, you know you've been that man before, the one who overthinks, who waits by the phone, who second-guesses his own value just because she couldn't look him in the eye, and that's okay. We've all been there, but the moment you decide that from today forward, you'll no longer let someone else's confusion create doubt in your identity, that's the day you stop being emotionally manipulated by a glance and instead become someone whose presence commands attention without ever asking for it. And that shift starts with how you look at yourself, not how she looks at you. And once you get that, really get it, you won't just change your results with women, you'll change how the world responds to your energy, because you've become someone who doesn't flinch. And if this part of you is waking up right now, if something inside you knows it's time to finally start moving from scattered reactions to grounded power, then the Stoic relationship blueprint is your next step, because this isn't just a book. It's a full recalibration of how you lead in life, love, and everything in between, built on timeless Stoic principles that don't expire and don't bend for temporary feelings. And the audiobook version is now available so you can take in this life-changing mindset shift while you walk, jog, drive, or disconnect from the noise. And every insight in that book is yours forever. Not some fleeting advice that fades in your feed, but real frameworks you can come back to when the world tests your strength, when someone ghosts you, when you feel pulled to chase again. Because this isn't about fixing her behavior, it's about building you so strong that it no longer affects you. And that starts today with one decision: own this knowledge, hit the link in the comments, and never question your worth again. Number 2, her contact is never random. When she messages you out of nowhere, when a meme hits your inbox with, "This reminded me of you," when she sends you a song at midnight or casually reacts to your post after days of silence, understand this isn't spontaneity. It's precision, because women are emotionally strategic in ways most men never realize. And until you learn to read the intention behind the timing, you will always be the one stuck wondering what just happened, thinking she cares when she's actually testing, hoping for connection when she's controlling the emotional supply. And the longer you keep falling for these breadcrumb signals, the deeper you spiral into her frame, which means you stop being the man who leads the dynamic and start being the one who waits, hopes, and overreacts. And that's the exact moment she loses respect for you, even if she never says it, because respect is built on consistency and self-control, not on how quickly you respond to her half-hearted reach-outs. And the truth is, every time she disappears and then contacts you again, she's watching how you respond, not to reconnect, but to measure your emotional temperature, to see how hooked you still are, and whether you'll still drop your plans, shift your focus, or give her your full attention on command. And if you do, if you fall right back into rhythm, reply instantly. Keep the conversation going with effort she hasn't matched. You tell her everything she needs to know, that you're still waiting, still available, still emotionally on a leash. She doesn't even have to hold tightly because she knows one tug is all it takes to get your attention back. And here's what makes it worse. While she's doing this, she's also talking to someone else, maybe even sleeping with someone else, or at the very least, emotionally entertaining another man she hasn't tested the same way, because the one she tests is the one she doesn't fully respect, and that's you, unless you break the cycle, and the only way to break it is to remove yourself from it, not with bitterness or ego, but with full internal alignment to your values, where your response to her contact isn't rooted in reaction but in reflection, where you stop treating random texts like invitations and start treating them like distractions, because the man who's focused on purpose, who lives by a code, who's not constantly checking his phone for signs of validation, that man doesn't lose power to a message. He evaluates it, considers it, and then acts if it aligns, and if it doesn't, he deletes it. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. Because when you start valuing your mental energy like it's currency, you stop spending it on women who don't invest in you with the same clarity. And the biggest trap here is emotional memory. Because when she contacts you, it's not just the message you react to, it's the wave of old feelings it triggers, the good times, the laughs, the what-ifs. But emotional memory is a drug, and if you don't detox from it, you'll chase after ghosts, mistaking feelings for future potential when all they really are is proof that you haven't healed yet. And healing, in this case, doesn't mean forgetting her. It means recognizing the pattern and refusing to feed it again. And if you want to know what real power looks like, it's this: getting that message from her, feeling the emotional tug, and doing absolutely nothing, not even opening it, not because you're trying to play games, but because you've realized that access to your time and energy is a privilege, not a default. And the moment you embody that fully, you shift out of the role of emotional responder and become someone she can no longer predict or manipulate, and that unpredictability is exactly what rebuilds the attraction she thought she lost. Because when a woman contacts you and doesn't get the emotional supply she expected, it disrupts her script, it confuses her instincts, it makes her wonder if you've moved on, and that curiosity pulls her in deeper than your attention ever could. But here's the key. This only works if it's real, if you're not pretending to care less, if you're not counting hours before responding just to play it cool, because when your detachment is fake, she senses it, and she still holds the frame. But when your indifference is earned through self-discipline, when your peace is protected through routines and focus and internal strength, then her random messages don't shake you anymore, they don't distract, they don't even register as significant. And from that place of inner stillness, you become untouchable, and that's when she starts reaching out more, not because you did anything to chase, but because she feels the absence of your attention like a void, because she used to have access to you for free, and now you're charging, and the price is clarity, effort, consistency, and if she doesn't want to pay that price, she'll walk away, and you'll let her, not because you don't care, but because you've finally built a life where someone's inconsistent presence no longer matters, and that's the moment you stop being haunted by her reach-outs and start becoming a man she can't control anymore, a man who doesn't flinch at emotional noise, a man who understands that peace isn't found in her replies, it's found in his standards. And you can begin this today by writing down the last 5 times she contacted you after a long gap and asking yourself, did that message add value to my life or just confusion? Did I feel empowered or manipulated? And from now on, if the answer isn't power, peace, or partnership, you delete and move forward, because life is too short to keep opening doors for people who keep walking out of them. And the moment you realize that your energy is sacred, your time is precious, and your peace is non-negotiable, the random messages lose their magic, and you stop being the backup plan and start being the main character in your own life. Number 3. She stalks you silently. She doesn't like your posts. She doesn't comment. She doesn't engage in public. But she sees everything. She watches your stories the second they go up. She checks your profile when she's supposed to be moving on. She scrolls through your pictures, reads your captions, tracks who's commenting, who you're following, what you're posting. Not because she's curious, but because she's invested, and she won't admit that to you, to her friends, or even to herself. Because if she does, she loses the illusion of control she's been clinging to, and control for her is survival. Because to admit you're in her head is to risk the vulnerability of being exposed, and that's something she fears more than losing you. So instead of reaching out with honesty, she watches from the shadows, tracking your energy, gauging your mood through digital breadcrumbs, building entire narratives from your silence while pretending she's unbothered. And here's the part you don't realize. This monitoring isn't casual, it's deliberate, it's obsessive, it's fueled by the conflict between wanting to let go and needing to keep you close. And in that in-between space, she becomes consumed, not because you've done anything to manipulate her, but because your presence challenges her sense of emotional control. And if you've ever wondered why someone who supposedly doesn't care is always first on your story views, always circling your feed, it's because she cares too much to engage and too little to walk away, trapped in her own internal contradictions. And you, not understanding this, get caught up in your own confusion, thinking, if she's watching, why isn't she talking? And the answer is simple. Because watching costs her nothing. Watching doesn't risk rejection, doesn't require accountability. It allows her to stay connected without being vulnerable. And this is where most men fall into the trap. They start posting for her, trying to bait engagement, trying to signal improvement, hoping to trigger a reaction. But that behavior only reinforces her power, because now you're not posting for your progress, you're posting for her attention. And when you do that, you're giving her the emotional supply she wants without making her earn it. And the deeper issue is this. Every time you tailor your presence to provoke a response, you shrink, you dilute your focus, you lose track of who you were before she became your emotional focal point. And once that happens, you stop growing for you and start performing for her. And no matter how subtle you think you're being, she senses it. She feels the pull of your energy orbiting hers. And that's all she needs to stay in control, because she doesn't have to reply. She doesn't have to call. She doesn't even have to care consistently. As long as you're still watching to see if she's watching, you're emotionally invested. And here's the harsh truth you need to hear. Someone who won't give you clarity doesn't deserve your curiosity. Someone who can't speak directly doesn't deserve to live rent-free in your head. And someone who can't show up shouldn't have front-row access to your life. And the only way to break that cycle is to stop measuring their interest by digital interaction, to stop checking who viewed, to stop decoding silence, to stop assigning meaning to absence. Because the moment you remove the reward of your attention, they feel it, not because you blocked them, not because you made a scene, but because they no longer have access to your energy. And that energy is what they were feeding off of. Not the posts, not the selfies, but the emotional hook. And when you cut that off, when you go dark, not for revenge, but for renewal, you disrupt the pattern, you break the loop, and suddenly, the one who thought they were watching from a safe distance is now left staring at a screen that no longer delivers validation, and that discomfort forces reflection, and maybe even regret. But by then, you're already gone, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because you've decided that peace is worth more than being perceived, that your progress is worth more than their passive presence. And that's when everything changes, because the man who no longer needs to be seen becomes unstoppable. The man who builds without broadcasting becomes a mystery, and the man who's too focused to look back becomes the one they can't forget. And if you want to embody that starting now, here's what you do. Audit your digital presence. Ask yourself, is what I'm sharing a reflection of my growth or a reaction to her absence? And if it's the latter, stop, pull back, focus inward, rebuild your routine, go to the gym, fix your sleep, write your goals down, Commit to reading. Not because she's watching, but because you are, because the most dangerous version of you is the one who doesn't need to be followed to feel validated. And once you become that man, you'll find that her silent stalking no longer excites you. It bores you because your life becomes so full, so focused, so real, that digital attention from someone who never valued you in the physical becomes irrelevant. And from that place, you stop being haunted by her presence and start becoming the presence that haunts her, not with bitterness, not with games, but with silent self-mastery. And that's a power no post, no message, no click can replicate. And if you've ever felt the ache of being watched but not wanted, the confusion of being followed but not pursued, then this is your wake-up call, not to decode her behavior, but to delete its emotional relevance from your internal system, because clarity doesn't come from her finally admitting she cared. It comes from you deciding that your value isn't hidden in her silence. It's proven by your discipline. Number 4. Her friends treat you like you're special. When her friends treat you differently, when they smile a little too much, when they exchange those looks behind her back as you walk by, when one of them accidentally lets something slip like, "Oh, so you're the guy she keeps," and cuts herself off mid-sentence, that's not coincidence, it's confirmation. And if you've ever stood in a group of people and felt eyes on you for reasons you couldn't quite explain, chances are you were the unspoken topic of conversation long before you showed up. And this is what most men never understand. When she talks about you to her friends, it means you've already occupied space in her mind, because women don't waste emotional breath discussing someone they're indifferent toward. And when her friends know about you, they don't just observe, they judge, they analyze, they test you silently, and whether you know it or not, every interaction you have with them is a subtle evaluation, a decoding of your behavior, your vibe, your confidence, your level of awareness. And the mistake most men make is thinking that this is the moment to perform, to impress, to gain favor. But the moment you start trying to win over her friends, you've already lost, because now your energy is externally focused. You're responding to cues instead of commanding presence. And that shift in frame is what they all feel, even if they never say it. And the truth is, when her friends act weird around you, it's not because they don't like you. It's because they know something you don't. They've been hearing about you for weeks. They've seen the screenshots. They've dissected your texts. They know the emoji you used, the timing of your replies, the way you said something that made her overthink for 3 hours, and now you're standing there in front of them, and they're trying to reconcile the real version of you with the version she's been obsessing over. And that mismatch, if it exists, becomes the difference between them validating her feelings or warning her to back off. Because whether you realize it or not, women don't fall for men in isolation. They fall with commentary, with committee input, with narrative construction, and her friends play a massive role in that narrative, especially when she's unsure, especially when she's trying to hide how deeply she's already feeling something. And this is where it gets psychological, because if she truly didn't care, if she wasn't emotionally invested, she wouldn't be giving her circle daily updates about your every move. She wouldn't be asking, "What do you think he meant by this?" She wouldn't be showing them your pictures and asking if you look happier without her. And when that happens, you've already taken up residency in her emotional ecosystem. But you haven't signed the lease. And here's what I mean by that. You're in her head, but you haven't taken ownership of your presence. Because instead of staying grounded, you get excited, you react to the social cues, you get pulled into the high school energy of maybe she likes me, and you start performing, you start catering, you start shrinking your power into politeness, thinking that playing nice will get you approved. But the truth is, approval isn't given, it's felt. It's earned not by compliance, but by confidence, not by trying to be liked, but by being centered. And her friends, whether they realize it or not, are trying to push you off your center to see what you're made of. And the man who can stand in that awkward space, who can feel the tension of being watched and not flinch, who doesn't play along with inside jokes that aren't his, who doesn't smile just because everyone else is smiling. That man sends a signal to every woman in the room, including her, that he cannot be easily swayed, that his energy is not for sale, and that kind of emotional discipline is what separates the men who get discussed from the men who get respected. And you want respect, not attention, because attention fades, but respect builds reputation, and reputation builds presence, and presence changes how people treat you when you're not in the room, and that's what you want to become. The one who doesn't need to explain himself, the one who doesn't need to be introduced, the one whose name carries weight, not because you tried to impress, but because you held your frame. And you do that by doing less, by watching more, by speaking with purpose and not out of politeness, and most importantly, by refusing to react to energy that isn't direct, because when you're with her friends and they're acting strange, they're not testing you to be cruel. They're testing you because she's talking about you like you matter, and now they want to see if you're congruent with that image. And when you pass that test, not by performing, but by being deeply grounded in who you are, she feels it in a way she can't deny, because the most attractive man in any social situation is the one who's not trying to manage perception. He's focused on truth, on alignment, on presence, and presence is not loud, it's not overdone, it's calm, it's quiet, it's magnetic, and it comes from knowing that no one else in the room holds your value except you. And if you've ever walked away from an interaction with her friends feeling like they were sizing you up, they were, and that's okay. But what you do next is what defines the entire story. Because you can either get insecure and start playing their game, or you can take a step back, reset your focus, and ask yourself, am I leading this situation, or am I being led by it? And that one question will tell you everything, because leadership isn't about dominating conversations or showing off confidence. It's about holding emotional weight without trying to escape it. And if you want to flip the script, next time you're in that room, don't try to be liked. Try to be real. Observe the dynamics. Speak when it matters. Don't try to prove yourself. And most importantly, walk away, knowing that if someone doesn't like your truth, they're not your audience, because the man who stands in truth always wins long term, even if he walks away alone in the short term. And when she realizes that you're not fazed by how her circle treats you, that you're not seeking approval, that you're not emotionally swayed by smiles or silence, she'll feel something she doesn't feel often: respect. And that feeling is far rarer than affection, and that's what makes it powerful. Number 5. She listens more than you know. She listens even when it looks like she's not paying attention, even when she's on her phone, pretending to scroll, when she nods casually and doesn't react, even when the conversation seems like it went nowhere. She's storing details, filing moments, remembering the way you said something, the way your tone changed when you talked about your childhood, the subtle shifts in your voice when you mentioned your goals, the way your eyes moved when you talked about someone you once loved. And you think those things don't register. You think they're throwaway sentences, but they're not. They're data points in the emotional picture she's painting of you, a picture that allows her to interpret, assess, and ultimately decide what role you'll play in her life. And this is what most men don't realize. Women build emotional profiles before they build relationships. And that starts by listening, not actively with full attention like a coach or a mentor, but passively, quietly, like someone studying a character in a story. And when she remembers something you said weeks ago that you forgot yourself, when she brings it up in a way that feels subtle, indirect, and seemingly innocent, that's not her being polite. That's her revealing what she's been thinking about when you weren't around. And this matters more than you know, because it shows you where her focus is. It shows you how present you are in her mental space. But here's the trap. Most men take that as validation. They think, she remembers, she must care, and they attach meaning to it. They emotionally overinvest, and then they start performing, trying to give her more to remember, more to notice, more to react to. And that shift, subtle as it is what kills attraction. because the moment you start doing things to be remembered is the moment you stop living for truth and start performing for reaction. And when you do that, you lose your grip on presence, you lose your focus on mission, and you become entertainment instead of impact. And the reality is, if she remembers something important, it's because you said it from a place of depth, not performance. And if you want to keep that depth, you need to stop chasing the reaction and instead return to the source. Your values, your discipline, your ability to stay grounded whether someone notices or not, because your strength is not in how many things she remembers about you. It's in how little you need her to remember in order to feel whole. And this is where Stoic principles separate the reactive from the rooted, because the man who understands his worth doesn't seek confirmation of it in casual callbacks or remembered facts. He sees it, appreciates it, but doesn't anchor his self-perception to it, because he knows that memory without clarity is nothing, and someone can remember everything you said and still choose not to show up for you, still ghost you, still breadcrumb you, still use that information to manipulate you instead of connect with you. And that's the part that needs to land, because too many men confuse emotional memory with emotional commitment. And just because she remembers that your mom is sick, that you love jazz, that you were betrayed by a close friend, that you had a dream you haven't told anyone else, that doesn't mean she's ready to be your partner. It means she's gathering information. And whether she uses that information to connect with you or control you depends on who she is and what she wants. And your job is not to be impressed by her memory, but to be aware of how she uses it, to watch how she integrates what she knows into how she treats you. And if she brings up your past to build connection, support, and empathy, you may be dealing with someone of substance. But if she brings it up to throw it in your face during conflict, to test your emotional boundaries, or to guilt trip you into giving her more than she's earned, then you're dealing with someone who uses emotional intelligence as a weapon, and your only defense is clarity, discernment, and standards. Because the man who doesn't set boundaries around his vulnerability will always be controlled by the one who listens the most. And here's how you shift that dynamic. Start paying attention to who remembers your words and how they treat your silence. Start asking yourself whether you're being heard or monitored, respected or tracked, understood or analyzed. And if you notice that someone remembers everything you said but still treats you with inconsistency, distance, disrespect, or passive aggression, then you're not in a relationship. You're in a psychological experiment where you're the subject, and you can step out of that role at any time by refusing to react to remembered facts like they're proof of love, and instead asking, has this person earned my story? Because your story is sacred. Your truth is not entertainment. Your life is not a narrative to be replayed by someone who isn't showing up for you in the present. And if you've ever felt confused by how someone can remember so much and still feel so emotionally absent, this is why. Because memory isn't love, interest isn't consistency, attention isn't commitment. And until you internalize that, you will keep mistaking emotional recall for emotional safety, and that mistake will cost you peace, focus, and direction. But once you get this, once you truly feel it, you'll stop being impressed by who listens and start being intentional about who has access to your voice. And that's where everything changes. Because the man who protects his voice, his story, his space, becomes the man whose presence demands more than just attention. He demands alignment, he expects consistency, and he filters out everyone who isn't willing to bring both. And that's not arrogance, it's awareness. And that's what will protect you from giving the most precious parts of yourself to someone who only values them when it's convenient. Because being remembered is flattering, but being respected is transformative, and you only experience that transformation when you stop reacting to validation and start living from vision. If you're tired of being the one who's always confused, always chasing, always questioning what her silence means, Then it's time to stop playing by their rules and start building by your own. Society doesn't want you to be grounded, clear, and in control. They want you distracted, soft, and chasing validation. That's why the Stoic Relationship Blueprint isn't just a book, it's a weapon. It's filled with timeless Stoic principles that will snap you out of emotional chaos and put you back in command of your life, your mind, and your relationships. And now, it's available in audiobook form, so you can absorb every life-changing insight while walking, training, or doing what men do, building. Hit the link in the comments and claim what was never meant to be handed to you. Power. If you're ready to cut the noise and rebuild your foundation, comment, "I choose strength." Like this video, subscribe, and help more men escape years of wasted energy.